Okay, for purposes of equal time, this is Marty. Say hello, Marty. Yes. Mwah. Marty is the best little boy you could ever possibly hope for. But he and Ollie do not get along, do you? You may not be able to see this, but Ollie's right there, down there right now, fussing at him. So, Marty has also got a little bit of a weight problem. Anyway, but I won't put him down on the floor because he doesn't like to do that. No, no. Give me a head. Hello, I am back. Anyway, this one is to correct some features that were on the last one. I promise I won't sing this time. What to talk about though? I'll just conversationally freebase. It is storming outside. You can't see that. It is storming outside because I had the roof fixed, which is nice because when I didn't have it fixed, it was storming inside for a while. Now it's got some odd patterns. We had patterns made by the rain on the ceiling of the house I grew up in. Now that's an interesting story. But for that another time. One of my favorite memories are of storms. Here's one. Here's one. Good dysfunctional Southern family story. Can't go wrong with a dysfunctional Southern family story in my estimation. But anyway, my mother, God rest her soul, he better, hated her brother. Did I say that my mama did not like her brother? No, I don't believe I did. What I said was my mama hated her brother. He was about 14 years older than she was. His name was Jefferson, as in Jefferson Davis. But anyway, and here's how it relates to a storm, okay? I won't tell you exactly why they hated each other. I will tell you that she had her reasons, and they weren't altogether invalid, but true story. They had not spoken to each other for about 15 years or so. Let me rewind. Okay. About 15 years before, or more. She had gotten as a Christmas present a bottle of Jack Daniel Reserve or whatever. It's the really high shelf Jack Daniel thing, the really expensive one. And she was a whiskey drinker, obviously, but she decided to save it for a special occasion. And she didn't decide exactly what that special occasion was going to be. For a while she thought it was going to be my marriage, but as I think Miss Barbara Streisand said best in Yentl, it was like she was up there telling my story. Something tells me that I'm right, you wouldn't want to dance tonight at my wedding. Anyway, okay, so she decides to put this away for something special, and when she decides it's not going to be my wedding, she decides on what that special event shall be. So, which is probably killing the story just a little bit. Time go by. You hear what I say? I said time goes by. Alright, now, 15 years later, it's this huge storm in Montgomery, and I understand from later that the storm had taken off part of the roof of the building where she worked. So much so that some of the trees from outside had actually come in, the branches and everything had come into her office. And she was really, really PO'd because her boss, who was not altogether the most reasonable man in the world, was telling her that, well, maybe if you can get up there and take a look at it. And she was like, I am 65 years old. I am not going to be climbing up in a rainstorm. And anyway, so this same day, now while this has happened, I come home to our apartment. And there's a message on our answering machine, and I press it, and it is my aunt, my mother's sister. Blanche, this is Joanna. Listen, I know that he was not your favorite person, but I thought you should know Jefferson, our brother, is dead. And they are going to hold a funeral service for him in Birmingham. And then they're going to take him to the little church in Billingsley and bury him there and have another funeral service for him there. So they're having funeral services in Birmingham and Billingsley. But they're burying him in Billingsley. And I don't know how you're going to take this. If you need to, please give me a call. If you want to go with me to the funeral, please give me a call. So I listen to this, and I'm like, well, on the one hand, she didn't like him. On the other hand, he was her brother. And our family doesn't multiply so much as we subtract, which we do really well. But, so, who knows? Well, my mother comes in around this time. You would not believe the day I had at work today. The storm blew the shingles off of the building. Tree limbs come into my office. That son of a bitch boss tells me, Blanche, why don't you go up there on the roof? I tell him I am not going up on the roof, and I'm like, Mama, 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 Mama. Before you go any further, there's a message on the machine that you might want to hear. Blanche, this is Joanna. Jefferson's died. And they go on to bury him in Billingsley, but they're having a funeral in both places. They buried him in Billingsley. I don't know how my mother's going to react. What she says instead is just, well, I didn't think they were going to bury the son of a bitch in both places, although it wouldn't be a bad idea, although I would have done it before I died. Anyway, the storm just takes the shingles right off the roof, and while she's saying this, very calmly, she walks to her cabinet, takes out a very lovely cut crystal highball glass that she had gotten at some point, fills it with ice, and with some Coca-Cola. That's not Coca-Cola, not the type. Anyway, so while she's just very calmly telling me that, and I told him I'm not getting up on there on that roof. It is raining out there, and you may think that because I grew up out in the middle of nowhere, I don't have sense of getting out of the rain, but I do. And then she takes down that bottle of whiskey that she has kept unopened for about 15 years, pours herself a good little helping of it into the Coke, mixes it, swirls it around, and I just told him that, he's going to have to get a contractor in there because I can't very well work when the roof is off of the office. And then she has a somber look on her face, raises up the glass, and drinks a toast. Here's to the cancer that killed that son of a bitch. It's pretty good, but I really prefer Jim Beam. Anyway, now, the whole point of the storm was blah, 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 blah. So, that's what I like about the South.